everyone, Jackie here, back again for the Real Women of Philadelphia cooking competition. Today we're making grilled chicken breasts in a mushroom sherry cream sauce. And this is a great dish for a date night in when you want something that feels a little special but doesn't take a ton of time or effort. And I've already started our chicken cooking, 2 boneless, skinless breasts. I'm cooking it on a clamshell grill, only takes about 6-7 minutes. Or you could do it in a pan on the stove, or better yet, send your fella outside to grill them up on the barbecue while you do the sauce. And I didn't do much to the chicken, just a little salt and pepper and a brush with olive oil. It doesn't need a lot because our sauce is doing the heavy lifting in the flavor department today, which means we can keep everything else simple and easy. So for the sauce, I've started with a hot pan. I added just a little bit of olive oil and some thinly sliced prosciutto. I took a couple slices and just cut it into slivers and added it to the pan. Prosciutto is an Italian style ham, so it's cured. We're not really cooking this, but just crisping it up. And it'll be a nice finishing touch to our dish. And it's the little touches that take a meal from your everyday weeknight meal to something special. My husband Jim and I, we live out in the country and we love it. And when we want to celebrate a special occasion, rather than going into town, going out to a restaurant, we prefer to stay home. And I'll make a nice meal, we'll open a bottle of wine, light some candles, and make a date of it at home. Okay, I think our prosciutto strips are just about done. Nice and crispy. So I'm going to transfer them to a paper towel lined plate to drain, and we'll get back to them later. Okay. And it's not, prosciutto isn't very fatty, so this hasn't really rendered much fat. We just need a film of fat or olive oil in the bottom of our pan, not too much. You can pour out any excess into a dish. I'm just going to pour a little bit out. There we go. And in go our mushrooms. I'm using sliced cremini mushrooms, but you could use button, you could use shiitake, you could use baby bellas. And I've prepared all my ingredients ahead of time, chopped, minced, whatever I had to do, because this sauce comes together really quickly. And we're going to cook these mushrooms until they release their juices and those juices start to cook off and the mushrooms get a little brown. I'm also adding a little bit of chopped shallot. And shallot is part of the onion family. It's got a mild, garlicky, sweet, nutty taste, and I love it. And one of the reasons I use it so often is because it cooks quickly. It just takes a minute in the pan to soften, and it's great in a quick dish. So we cook those mushrooms. Now you could buy your mushrooms pre-sliced at the grocery store. Again, if you're looking to save some time, you can make it as easy or as complicated as you like for yourself. I'm also going to add a pinch of chopped fresh rosemary. And this is a woody herb that will go just beautifully with those mushrooms. And a little salt and pepper. Stir that up. Yeah. I don't know, there's something about a meal that you cook for yourself, for your sweetheart, that makes an occasion special. I mean, it's nice to treat ourselves out every now and then, but there's a lot of love that goes into a home-cooked meal. Beautiful. Okay, so our mushrooms have browned up. They've released their juices. This pan is good and hot. And we're going to add our sherry. This is the mushroom sherry cream sauce. And sherry is a fortified wine. It's a little bit sweet. And you could use a regular wine if you like, but this has a lot more flavor and depth. And I'm going to take the pan off heat when I add it, because when you're adding alcohol to a hot pan, pan. You gotta be careful, it could flare up. Have a lid handy in case you gotta slap a lid on that. So here we go. Alright, stir this up. We're going to stir up the brown bits that have accumulated on our pan from our mushrooms. We're going to let the alcohol in the sherry cook off. Don't worry, we'll get it in our wine later. And let that reduce to about a syrupy consistency. It just takes a minute. Oh, I wish you could smell this. That just released all sorts of aromas. And when that cooks down a bit, we're going to add our creamy part, which of course comes from Philadelphia cream cheese. I have 3 ounces here, or if you're weighing it out, that is, or measuring it out, that's 6 tablespoons. And if you're eyeballing it, it's just a little more than 1/3 of a brick. Oh yeah, so that's cooked down, and in goes our Philly. Stir that around, stir that in. And of course, this is a sauce that needs to be a pouring consistency. So to thin it out, I have some chicken broth. This is just store-bought, but if you have homemade, by all means use that. I'm just stirring in a little at a time and stirring it in so that we get a nice, smooth, even consistency. Okay, our sauce is done. Now, you know what I say about recipes. They're not rules or guidelines, so if you like it thinner or thicker, you just add a little more or less of that broth. And what we'll do is put a lid on that, keep it warm. I think my chicken should be done now. I'll plate that up and be right back. Alright, I've just plated up our chicken breasts along with some steamed rice and sugar snap peas, and we just need to add our sauce. Before we do that, we will taste it and adjust for seasoning if we need to. Oh, that looks good. And add just a little pinch of salt, a little more pepper, and then for one last finishing touch, just a little splash of balsamic vinegar. This is a very rich sauce, so that balsamic vinegar is going to help cut that richness and add a nice bright note at the end. Oh, all right. So we'll just spoon some mushrooms right over that chicken breast for Jim too, and drizzle some of that sauce over top. And of course, we can't forget about our nice crispy prosciutto strips. Sprinkle those over top. Oh yeah. A little bit of parsley and some sprigs of fresh rosemary to garnish. So there's our grilled chicken breast in mushroom sherry cream sauce. All that's left to do now is open that bottle of wine, light those candles, and let date night begin. I think this is the point where we turn off the camera. Bye for now.